Ketu South ewo Volta region eye oyechra efa aflawo border wonum ebie eye na wochi etwemu no sansu na asitna ewo aflawo adishia ewo elubo ensu kasafa land borders a wonum atum de biara eye ade a eha wonu asitna ye wo kwanbone so ewo nkomo twitwemu no mranhwe bedwani a owo Jomoro eka se land border wotumu no eye ade a edi ahunyehi abaye a eji nipa dodo nkwa crossing COVID-19
this demonstration because the land border is almost 2 years. Our people at the border towns are suffering. As you can tell, people are crying, people that went for bank loans cannot repay, lives have been lost, marriages have been broken, people are committing suicide. The whole town is getting into like a ghost place because people are moving out of this place. So people are suffering. They can't pay school fees, marriages are just turning apart. A lot of things are happening, a lot of hardships. So we are doing this demonstration to tell the government that he should really pay attention and do something about the reopening of the borders. Because it's been closed for way too long. The airports are reopened, but the land borders have not been opened. And it's really affecting the livelihood of our people. We've done everything. As a member of parliament, I did a statement. I called on the interior minister to ask him about the closure of the border. Nothing has been done. So we are hoping that by doing this demonstration, it will help us. The government will really hear us to do something. And that is why we are doing this demonstration. It's a peaceful one. We are only pleading to the government, our father, to do something because people are really suffering at the border towns. You can tell a lot of people are crying. Things are happening. Lives have been lost, and something needs to be done. After all, the disease, we were told that the reason why the land borders were closed was as a result of this COVID-19. But lives that have been taken away, or people that are dying, it's more than even the COVID-19. Out of frustration, hunger, and all that. So we are pleading. The disease is not, it didn't come from Ghana. It came from abroad. But the airports have been reopened. Yet the land borders haven't been reopened. So we are pleading. Anything that he can do, I'm sure if he opens the land borders, there are proper measures, protocol measures put in place. So that at least the people can have back their lives.
Jamalo awonu ankasa ede no ho ekos hum police eye ukwada no awokono woni eye party executive ana ekoye no woche womo ma womo ede nsem no emane ko CID regional headquarters eye anopa no na sesie no woma yenhyehyede a wobekọ akopiem ewo Kokwasi magistrate court his lordship Eric Denin ana wobedi sa asem no Samuel Kofi Ejeyi sesie no sobo wodi abone sem watwen akodi ani nyina no etia eye section 70 ewo criminal offenses ewo act 1960 act 29 eno ekere se enya ade a womo ebeyi no edi efree eye police station honomo emfa ho ene chopa wodo a wapa ana afei lawyers ahodo a womo na chief state attorney edi atudwa wo kire se sedie asem no etie no eni enyan pa eye ani ntenya ade a wɔmbɛma ho kwan wɔn ɛbɛyi no efiri ɛyɛ police asoɛyɛ kɔpem sɛ wɔn ɛbɛhwehwɛ nsɛm mu na afei nso wɔn ebua ne fo ne krakra mu no ana his lordship Eric Denin wasan yatwe asɛm no ɛde akɔ 7 September ɛno nso wɔbɛ ɛtena se na wasan ahwɛ nsɛm no
Say, 111 health units. Ghana hanging be a district hospitals, be a clinic. Now, chairman, I am a one Ghana having said, yeah, yet to hear now because of 111 health projects. Now, a bit of Musubu. I don't want to go. I mean, you. Hey, yet me, my politics did more to the point to say, you need hospitals, Papa. Uba Broche, you can't hospital. You can clinic. That's a OBC. Over here 111. Now what you want to work for? We pay for.
If a patient is coming to a clinic and they don't see the love or the welcoming concept of it, then first and foremost, you've defeated the purpose of your center. But Praso here, I'm told by everyone, is the best quality of healthcare. It's not only the medication you get, but it's the effort and the reception you get from the administrators of the healthcare center.
Ebiono, Yimano, and Tabi, Ojina Muma, Mace Akosia Sapon, yes, Central Regional Director. Esan kan Ojumedian as say regional directorate no elbow on home modern say what they apomodin hyehyeye a wodi agu akwan so no ebeba mu.
The ceremony we have to witness today falls perfectly in line with Ghana's Agenda 111 as well as our roadmap to ITV universal health coverage. That is to say by 2030 all Ghanaians and all persons in the world for that matter to have access to affordable health services wherever they live, and that finance to not be a barrier to accessing health services.
Chairman no Ojumede ase a osanye odikro wo asem praso a otosudu no enso ede afutue ama administrators a omowo ayarsabia ho no.
Yeah, any African country akona ni mu bia mo ma yen so na enye yie.
Media Foundation for West Africa
The publication highlights the gaps within the national policies in Ghana. We have talked about policies and we have talked about legislation and we have talked about laws. So actually it's looking at the gaps that exist in addressing women's rights online and what are the challenges. These challenges include non-gender-based conventions, legislations, and policies. Lack of segregated data on women, non-online protection issues, non-inclusion of non-governmental stakeholders, insufficient funding to implement women's online rights projects. So we are looking at how the paucity of funding to fund these activities. So, having identified the gaps, this report also makes very useful recommendations that governments and policymakers can consider and also use to inform policies, shape policy discourse, and reforms regarding women's rights online. It is hoped that this document will sufficiently contribute to making national policies more gender responsive and sensitive. On this note, I declare this research report on women's rights online in Ghana, national policy gaps and recommendation by Media Foundation for West Africa duly launched.
Kwantrefo Penny Mitra Executive Director Wano Eneda Media Foundation for West African Suleiman Brahima. One so den sem etudwa ewodwumedie na se a wotremu ese
the resources that we have, we are making sure as and when we have the liberty to decide, we would make sure we are allocating considerable resources to activities that are aimed at empowering women within the digital space. And that is why we're having a conversation like this, for example, supported by the Web Foundation, where we've done analysis to try and identify what the policy gaps are that is not helping more women to catch up in terms of the digital revolution and the digital journey that we are on. We are not doing this here in Ghana alone. We are doing the same thing in Liberia and in Sierra Leone, and resources permitting, we may add on a few, one or two Francophone countries in the region. Part of the reasons why we are where we are is that, one, when it comes to digital literacy, women are behind. When it comes to digital skills, women are behind. When it comes to security and safety, women are the most victimized in terms of harassment online, abuses online, and so on and so forth. So everything is not just going well in terms of women. And we cannot but begin to fight to demand that the right things.
Research a one my Ediafa tobacco control program and Dr. Atisai editu just say one of the Edifa tobacco huno a dear hard ye papa nani nan one who said and pen four and far and your man and to a pronoso and our first yashia who do or memusono and she shall send pen for edisu honu and ya no and a one edison and nam swa sadie air coswa efa tobacco nemuno and was the Food and Drugs Authority FDA and our first so abino and was so one added and your man at to a quemwa will be or befa quine bonnet so added tobacco abo memu and our first so and red daho and my one with the tobacco who one when you sono as I say one of the assutrian see a pa at the command nanya air cosway a two a chakra a woman emu and chaye and a Food and Drugs Authority added to justice our bread dear one egu so air to tone your man wo ba be and memukete ediama one man share dia to her ama one with the tobacco hujuma won di so no ye de ebetwe wonum aso a eno no what the same way etudwa ewo UN convention program be a course wo ase na eno
ene nam so a Miss Olivia Ejekumwa Boateng wono ene ye Chief Regulatory Officer and afeso no Head of Tobacco and Substance Abuse Department no wodano ewo Food and Drugs Authority and wodi tuja na mu no ene wo se wo hwe enhwehwemu akwame Kroma University of Science and Technology metre KNUST one ma ye ediafa tobacco ho a one findings abetre se wo ba wo man mu a eye one medi tobacco ho dwuma wo fa wo hanche mu aduonum miensa etripo enum metre 53.5% tobacco wo Ghana ye dwaman so ho no one hwehwemu a wo ye no ede se tobacco control capacity program and affairs dissemination and engagement no enyoma wonum ehu ade fam no ye pa se sabre o mu wo hwe brebo ne pa ene wo COVID-19 bre empenfo de me gugu akwan so efa ya hia hodo wo mahu nanso na kame ayese enipa binum enam so efa kotu kwan so ede tobacco eba wo man mu anu na enam so a nya ekoso nyina no ekoso ewo man emu
Time health center non manager and doctor and then they were there for
It's a banana, granite, and your friend saying asparagus, nutmeg, nina red wine, nina yendiania, paya, ne honey, any meku, nina yenke yendiania yen normal, but send a medical cano if you are dreaming. Obina dream would this anyway, no. Any atinka, ubenya, saa meko ya wo ke chili peppers yi kura na otimi kura kai ni bibi etwi ni desire no esi bibi so etwi atenka no edeba yes the excess use of it send me can enya breaki the all these components na it forming my brain need me function then it becomes a problem for the body. Se obi unso obi abodam anase yes obi in a psychological issue anase obi enamabuntin so ne ade the hormones in the body are not responding correctly with the mind. The hormones in the body are not responding in accurate dimensions with the mind. Yes. Antibodani betimi akwa tam asansu a ewo gatemu ano but on yare no say bodam ni bia yare da so when the chain send nyam kupon kasa abo nipedua no when there is a break in the system and the nerves that connects the channels the information to the brain no when there is a break in it now that becomes a problem, a psychological problem. Inti memani bebre wo 90% of men omofa aphrodisiac have psychological issue. This is a serious thing.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, because sex starts from the mind, and it is the brain that works when we come to sex. So if the brain is not able to work well to make sure that the sex periods, and I say the intercourse no lasts for certain that within the shortest possible time nowadays, not break it down, then there is a problem there. Then that means there's a problem in the functioning of the brain, the function of the mind. Meaning, one of these days later, you better about the functions of the brain near the into details. I'll bet you see. So we need to make sure that the mind is in good order, and that is the key that is going to help us to have a good sex life.